Welcome back to the channel. You know, I've been researching the great wealth transfer for a long time. We've covered it a lot here on the channel over the years, and I'm actually happy to say I'm shocked. It's actually happening. It's accelerating. I thought it would take much longer. I did. But hey, the experts are coming out now and they're saying, hey, listen, this is real. Trillions of dollars, right? So the old estimate was $84 trillion. They have new estimates. Wait, let me give you the number. All right. And look this up for yourself if you want to see with your own eyes. New estimates are saying it could be up to $124 trillion by 2048. The great wealth transfer just got greater. And so anyway, so back to what I was saying, it's actually happening. So what a lot of companies are reporting is that this whole idea of giving while living, you can look that up also, right? That's going to take you down a very nice pathway. It's going to give you a lot of information on this great wealth transfer, giving while living, that this is becoming more popular and more of the older generations are right now handing down some of this value to the younger generations in a variety of different ways, of course. They're saying that some are doing it in a way where they'll buy a house for someone in their family from a younger generation, a down payment for something. But nonetheless, I'm just giving you examples. They're doing it in a variety of ways. This is happening right now. It's beginning. And so also another piece of evidence that's showing this, and yes, this has everything to do with XRP, the bank coins, Solana, Chainlink, all of this, even Bitcoin. Why? Because it's also being reported. What? When you go down that giving while living pathway, and then you look at what the companies are providing now because of that, they're opening up doorways for younger investors to get into digital assets. They themselves, the professional companies, are reporting that the younger generations are their portfolios are heavily leaning towards crypto. A lot of it is altcoins, consist of altcoins, like XRP. Whoa. You know, listen, 2-3 years ago, who would have known we would make it to this point now? Now, once again, I don't know how quickly this is going to accelerate. It's happening now. This looks pretty significant. Of course, once again, this is the beginning. All right. This is the beginning. We'll see how much of that value continues to make its way into digital assets. This could be very interesting, actually. Let's go down here. Let me scroll down. Bear with me one moment. So $124 trillion by 2048. How much of that will make it into? Well, I'll say this. It's going to touch a variety of different coins. There's not one coin to rule them all. I know that sounds great. To each his own if you believe that. Not one coin is going to rule them all. Some of this is going to make it into Bitcoin, some into XRP, in my humble opinion, not financial advice, some into Chainlink, Solana, XLM, things like that. The usual suspects. And they're going to be trusted. It just makes a logical sense. It says here, one of the most notable trends, make sure you look this up for yourself, okay? And if you like this type of content, this information, if you find it valuable, you're entertained by this, hit that like button. I would appreciate that. One of the most notable trends is the difference in investment preferences between generations. Younger investors, Gen Z and millennials, are more receptive to alternative assets and show a much higher propensity for investing in cryptocurrency compared to their parents and grandparents. This is partly due to their status as, quote, digital natives. Remember, they're used to this. Bulk of our lives, we're used to digital things, right? It says, who are more comfortable with web native assets. It's also a response to the financial challenges they face, such as student debt and rising housing costs, which have made traditional wealth building methods feel less accessible. That makes perfect sense as well. This is very good research here. It says reports indicate that a significant percentage of younger investors' portfolios are allocated to digital assets, with some studies suggesting that millennials and Gen Z are 14 times more likely to own a digital asset than the older generations. That they're classifying as baby boomers here. Then they go into a little bit about the digital assets. We already know which the usual suspects are going to be there. So I would only be preaching to the choir. They talk about XRP here, etc. So here we go with a little bit of this information about giving is living. It says, quote, giving while living. I totally messed that up before. I said giving is living. Giving while living. That's what I meant. Is on the rise. A notable trend is that many baby boomers are choosing to transfer wealth to their children while they are still alive. So you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, okay? Rather than waiting for it to be part of their estate. This can be in the form of helping with the down payment on a house, paying for education, or providing direct financial gifts. This, quote, inter vivos, quote, meaning between the living, transfer is a clear present day component of the larger event, which is the great wealth transfer. Then they go into the portfolios of the younger generations, which we know heavily digital. A study by Bank of America. This is where you find out who's saying this, so you take it serious, right? Maybe, if you trust them, I suppose. A study by Bank of America, private bank, found that 75% of investors aged 21 to 43 believe it's no longer possible to achieve above average returns solely through traditional stocks and bonds, a sentiment not shared by older investors. This is a clear indicator that a new generation of wealth is operating with a fundamentally different investment philosophy. So that's from Bank of America. A lot of this other stuff is coming from State Street. All right, if you want to look it up, it's coming from State Street, Bank of America. These big institutions are letting it be known. Why? Why are they letting it be known? Well, also, it's going to be profitable for anybody that hears this, that's of those younger generations, to know, wait, there's offerings for us to get involved through professional companies if they don't already know that. A lot of people don't know that. So they're coming out and letting it be and making their presence felt. That makes sense. It's good for business. This is like advertising in an intellectual way. Like we're doing this and that. We know that you like to invest in this. We have these, and then people will come to you. I probably did not say that in the most eloquent way, but I hope I conveyed that information. This is huge. This is huge. This is huge progress. So and then you have these financial advisors. I told those financial advisors will guide you down a certain path. I'm telling you. It says here, financial advisors are being trained to handle conversations around digital assets. Right. There's an explosion coming. They know it. They know their clients are going to be happy. This is why I said, I believe this is just my humble opinion. It's not financial advice. This is going to be easy. Well, first of all, multiples of millionaires already been made from 2021 and even up to the recent explosion. So that's nothing. But careers, that's what people aren't saying. Careers are going to be made because, I mean, if we're going by reputation, if these clients are happy with these explosions that are coming, that I believe are coming. I don't want to sound like an absolutist, okay? If that happens, whichever financial advisors are guiding them down certain paths, if those are the correct paths, they're going to have a bright future. This is going to be easy. So, of course, they're going to get in on it. In my humble opinion, that's how I'm viewing it. It says, so they're being trained to handle these conversations around digital assets, which means they're also educating themselves, which is going to bring even more people into the new financial system. At least they're going to have an understanding of it as you grow an understanding of something, as well as you're satisfied with it because you're profiting off of it, whether you're the financial advisor or you are the client. You become more comfortable with that mechanism, that circumstance, and that would lean you or make you more inclined to using it. So that means more value, more permanent value. I mean, the legitimization of the new financial system is happening at such a breakneck pace. It's unbelievable. I mean, what do you think about that? But let's continue on here. It says the fact that the industry is actively preparing for this shift shows they are responding to what is already taking place. I would take this with utmost seriousness as well. We're talking about, what did they say? What was the price? 124 trillion, or so was it higher than that? Let's go up here. I'm trying not to lose my spot. I know I'm going to lose it. Yeah, but I got it right. $124 trillion, folks. And once again, I don't want it to sound as though XRP or some one coin or even just crypto alone is going to get every cent of 124 trillion. No, I'm not saying that, but I believe it will take a significant chunk of that. And it doesn't need to take the entire thing. A significant chunk of that will move that price, period. It will. A lot of that is going to be in RWA, in the form of RWA. I just want to iterate. From what I've gleaned, I don't believe a lot of people are going to be keeping those homes. I don't, folks. A lot of value is locked up in homes. And I personally seen people selling homes that it's just flabbergasting me. I'm very serious. So, and I'm going to say this. It's not just the younger people selling these homes. I've seen a lot of older generations selling these homes. So that value is going to be moved. Can you imagine how much easier it's going to be to sell those homes when the value can be tokenized? Or you can have fragmented selling, fragmented purchasing. That value is going to move easily at the press of a button. So there's that as well. Well, I'll tell you what, this next few years is going to be interesting, to say the least. For sure, it definitely is. But should I go a little bit further with that? There's so much here that's so interesting about this great wealth transfer. So, of course, there's going to be challenges. Despite significant projections, there are still challenges. Many older wealth holders are reluctant to discuss estate planning. Well, yeah, I've seen that as well. But here's the thing. That's been going on for a long time, where some of that value is probably not going to be handed down. But that's not what needs to be focused upon. Significant amount of that is going to be handed down. It has already begun. And that is great progress in and of itself. Which shows this is real, right? So now, let's see. Hold on, bear with me one moment. Let's scroll back down here. They talk a little bit about the proliferation of digital assets, but we know that they're spreading like wildfire. They are going to be very dominant in every possible way, especially when that utility kicks off. And that utility is going to be massive. Do you see what's going on with a lot of these companies now? I forgot how they're phrasing it. They're not calling it a reserve, an XRP reserve, or digital asset stockpile. There's another word they're using for it. But anyway, companies like this here, might as well go to the next article. This company in Japan, and this is interesting for a variety of reasons. Of course, we can't catch everything all the time, but I saw this here. This company, Gumi, my apologies if I mispronounce it. But they're trying to acquire 2.5 billion yen, which is they're saying here is approximately $17 million worth of XRP, which is very interesting considering SBI has been saying for a long time they believe Japan will run on XRP. We also had another company that was in Japan a few weeks ago that was acquiring XRP, or they were saying they were going to. We have another company that's in Japan that's building AI on the XRPL. We have that going on. And there was one more company, I can't remember who it was, that was doing something with XRP within the last week. I cannot for the life of me remember. Am I snapping? It was a company in Japan, I believe. All right, well, maybe it'll come back to me. But nonetheless, there's a lot going on in Japan. Let me read this little tidbit here. Let's go here. And actually, we're going to read it from Yahoo Finance. It's approved. Here we go. Gumi confirmed his board of directors approved the acquisition of the XRP. So this is either going to happen or has happened. If this article will pop up, I guess we'll find out a little bit more. Right. It says Gumi, I'm going to pronounce it that way. Gumi confirmed his board of directors approved the acquisition of XRP to complement the company's existing Bitcoin exposure. I think we're going to see a lot of this going into the future. Those are two guaranteed winners, in my humble opinion. Not financial advice. It says, according to the official announcement, Gumi's board approved a strategic investment of 2.5 billion Japanese yen, $17 million in XRP, targeting the acquisition of 6 million tokens through a phased approach. Okay, so there you have it, spanning September 2025 to February 2026. Interesting. In February 2025, then they go into a little bit of the history of it, of them announcing that they were intending to do such, and but I don't think that's too relevant as of now. That's just like filler. Gumi also emphasized that XRP, unlike Bitcoin, offers financial utility. So there you have a company telling you, hey, we want to use that utility. Some people just pshaw the utility of XRP. I don't know why, but to each his own. It is what it is. But you have a multitude of companies saying this. Right. They also said, a lot of people said that companies wouldn't hold XRP, but they are. What do you think a reserve is, or digital asset stockpile? They're holding XRP. They're holding Solana. I think they're going to do more. Isn't there a company also? Look all of this up. Don't just ever take anybody's word, whether it's mine or anybody. Always look stuff up, verify for yourself if you can. I know you have a lot to do. I know it. I do also. Today was a heck of a day. I know. But if you have time, always verify things if you can. I believe there's a company looking into a chain link. Didn't we cover that recently? An article like that? A chain link stockpile. So what's important here is a multitude of these bank coins will be held. They will be, whether they call them reserves or stockpiles or whatever new nomenclature they're throwing on top of this happening. What we know is that the companies are not being parsimonious for sure. They're throwing that money around and they're acquiring these bank coins to hold. So, I mean, the bank coins are winning in every possible way. Things are looking very, very good, in my humble opinion. You don't have to take my opinion. I'm going to speak my opinion. So for sure. So Gumi purchases deepens Ripple SBI Holdings partnership. Gumi cited its shareholder relationship with SBI. So SBI has reared its head. It was telling the truth. I respect companies like that, like SBI, Ripple, where they say they're going to do something. They say something's going to happen and they make it happen. They're actively involved. I like that. I respect that. It says holdings as a key factor in the decision. SBI is Ripple's largest partner in Japan. We know that. And co-manages SBI Ripple Asia, a joint venture focused on deploying blockchain payment systems across Japan and wider Asian markets. The company described XRP as, quote, strategically compatible, unquote, with its operations given SBI's influence. Okay, so this was actually a very good line of articles that helped me segue into this next little piece. Now, I don't know where I had it. There was an article that was talking about BRICS Nation, where, is BRICS Nation interested in XRP, the bank coin companies? Well, do we really need any type of document to come out from them? You don't need an official, let me not say you. I don't believe an official document is necessary from the BRICS nations as a collective to show people that bank coin companies are dominating when it comes to BRICS nations. And they're going to be using bank coin technology, period. There's no way around it. I'm going to give you irrefutable proof that they themselves have put out there. Anybody can research this. We already know this if you've been on this channel for a long time. Now, I don't have anywhere to put a chapter here. I should put my hand up, right? BRICS nations, and what should this chapter be called? BRICS nations and bank coins. That's what we're going to call this chapter because I can't find the article. But, okay. China is a part of BRICS nations, right? We all know that. Ripple has a great relationship with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. They have built a CBDC platform for the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. There also has been numerous reports of Ripple working with a multitude of companies within Hong Kong. All right, that's BRICS nations. That's one. Saudi Arabia, a lot of countries in that region are a part of BRICS nations, right? MENA region. Almost no one is deeper in the MENA region than Ripple. They've had a multitude of deals and partnerships just this year that they landed in. We're not even taking into account everything they've done over the years, like QNB Bank, Atajari Wafa, all their subsidiaries, right? That's two. So we got the MENA region they're working with, and I'm just referencing Ripple and XRP. I'm not even talking about Stellar, who's deep in Southeast Asia, just like Ripple is as well, or Hedera, who's also deep in the MENA region as well, although they like to keep that quiet. Zenfin is also deep over there. Yep, they also like to keep it quiet. All bank coins. Wait a minute. So that's two. We don't have to go too far, but then let's take a little trip to Latin America. Let's look at Brazil. A lot of bank coins have great relationships in Brazil, including Ripple. They wouldn't be there building relationships, shaking hands, letting them test the technology if they didn't think that they would be able, that technology would be utilized there. Now, once again, I want to reference those stable coins it opens that back door, because no one from BRICS nations is going to want to use a US dollar-based stable coin, but all of these countries have to acquire something from each other. They all need something from each other. One's buying farmland over here. The East is buying farmland in the US and companies and buildings in the US. I'm not sure the status on that, but as an example, they all interact in some sort of way. They have mineral deals. The West needs certain things from the East. Half of the products are made in the East. They're the chips that go in the phones and things like that. A lot of that I don't know if it still is, but a lot of that used to be made in Taiwan, right? Taiwan, China, some stuff is made in China. I mean, like, so in order for that to continue, and it will, they're going to need bridge currencies like XRP. That's why they're all looking into this. Not only that, they're going to need a neutral platform. SWIFT is not neutral. That's why a lot of those individuals, I'm trying to be nice, at SWIFT are although they have bent the knee to crypto already, because as I showed, they're working with Chainlink, right? Chainlink, if they begin working with Cardano works with Ripple. You see that loop, that tie-in? A lot of the anachronistic minds at SWIFT are very, very upset about having to bend that knee. Although they're going to continue to do it, that doesn't mean they're not going. That doesn't mean they're going to do it without also being upset about it. That's crazy, right? They're going to do it, but they're upset about it. They have to, because they have been siloed. They don't want people to talk about that. That's a career killer. You don't want to talk about that if you're in the industry, because they have a lot of power and they don't like to be thought of as weak. But you and I can say that. That's the truth. They've been siloed. So you need a neutral platform the rest of the world is going to be able to work with and respect and know that they're not going to side with this or that. All right. And that is the new financial system. That's your XRPLs, your Hederas, your chain links, etc. SWIFT was weaponized. If you don't know already, I know a lot of you do. They were weaponized against the East by the US. So they're finished. As far as that name, if you have a bad name, it follows you. So now let's squeeze in a tiny bit. Woo, I went too long, but I was enjoying the information. I really was. So sometimes that happens. All right, let me give you a little bit of quick Bitcoin news. This article is titled Bitcoin to see one more big thrust to $150,000. That's what I like to hear. And I believe that that's possible in the coming months. I do. Whether it happens or not, we shall see. But even if it doesn't happen, that does not negate the positive catalyst. It does not. All right. So now it says, after soaring to new highs in August, Bitcoin is now facing a critical test for its next major move, according to veteran trader Peter Brandt. Quote, I think there is still room for one more big thrust, perhaps 125,000 to 150,000. That was my number. But it is running out of time, unquote. That I disagree with. Running out of time. Even if it takes a breather, even if it consolidates, there's a dip or a correction, whatever. It does not negate those catalysts, does it, Mr. Brand? No, it does not. No, it doesn't. The companies want Bitcoin more than ever. Nations want Bitcoin, and that's making the regular people salivate as well. They need a little bit of value, a little extra value. They want it. Everybody's bullish on crypto. How is their time running out? Sir, I don't understand that. Maybe you'll elaborate. Let's continue. Quote, the market feels toppy, unquote, Brandt says, explaining that the asset is entering the period where he initially thought it would hit a price ceiling. But why? You're not elaborating enough. You're not giving me details. I really, really abhor when people talk like this. They say something, but they don't tell you the idea behind it. So how am I to understand what you're trying to convey? But let's keep going. It says Bitcoin is trading at $109,087 at the time of publication, and Brandt says he will, quote, remain constructive. See, Bitcoin went up a little bit since that time. Let's go see. What is Bitcoin's price right now? Because when are they taking this quote from? That's what I want to know. Not that that is too relevant, because what he's saying is that he still believes 125K to 150K is still possible. So let's go here. Bitcoin current price. Let's just type that in on Google. Yes, I know I'm old school. I'm still using Google. Everybody's like, oh, you're still using Google. You have to use ChatGPT. I don't want to use ChatGPT. I don't want to use ChatGPT. If you understand me, you know that I'm not even that type of person. Like if it's something it feels bandwagony, like everybody's using it, I'm probably not going to use that. Like, so it's showing here Bitcoin right now, right, is at $112,186 green. Looking good, Bitcoin, looking good. It did come down a little bit, but still, it's looking really good, isn't it? No, all right. Keep it going, Bitcoin. Now, let's see if I can get back to where I left off and not lose my spot. So it says here, if it falls below $107,000, I think that's what he's saying, he will, quote, adopt the attitude that a 50% decline from highs might occur. Why so dramatic? I mean, no disrespect. That's quite dramatic. That is quite. Did that happen? No, it didn't. It went from 109. Now it's at 100. What did it say? 112. It was okay. So it was at 112,445, and now it's at 112,186. So it did go up a little bit. I'm not a pessimist. Okay, to each his own. I like to believe. I come from an athletic background. I've been a fighter almost my entire life, a wrestler, freestyle, Greco-Roman, scholastic wrestling in my youth. Okay, so I have a mentality where I believe I can win. I'm searching for a pathway. I'm researching my opponent. I'm going to win. That's how I feel. I want to win. I'm an optimist, I guess you could call it. I don't like to categorize myself or put myself in a box, but I believe that's the winner's mind state. We're going to win, and my opponent, if I'm going to lose, my opponent's going to have to beat me and show me I'm going to lose. That only when I have lost that's the only time I'm going to say, okay, that happened. I'm not going to defeat myself by planting negative thoughts in my own mind. That makes sense. You can't win by believing you're going to lose. I don't know if I'm conveying that properly, but if you want to win, if you want to reach the top, if you want to be great, you have to see the pathway. You have to believe in what you saw. You have to research it. You have to walk forward strongly. And if we know that negative possibilities can happen, but we're not trying to mentally absorb that, to take that on is like our clothing, so to speak, our mental clothing. We don't want negativity to be our mental clothing, or you're always going to be stuck in that mentally negative place. And it's going to become a veil over your eyes, and it's going to be hard to see victories. It is. So I see that as a little bit pessimistic, 50% decline. And it didn't happen. That didn't happen. Not to say it won't happen. I'm just saying it didn't happen now. You're saying it might happen if it went there. All right, we're back up a little bit. So anyway, Bitcoin is looking good in my humble opinion. Now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.